I arrived in Rome at 8 o'clock in the morning. My flight was early, and I was tired. I had not slept on the plane, but the sky above Italy was blue and clear. I stepped outside the airport and felt the warm sun on my face. "This is it," I said. "Rome, the eternal city." But then my phone died. No internet, no map, no way to contact the hotel. I took a deep breath. Around me, people spoke Italian fast. I walked to a taxi and showed the driver a piece of paper. "Via Cavour, please." He nodded and smiled. We started moving. Out the window, I saw narrow streets, old stone buildings, motorbikes, and flowers on balconies. Everything looked beautiful. Everything looked old, but also full of life. In just 30 minutes, we arrived. I got out of the taxi, paid the driver, and stood in front of the hotel. But wait, this was the wrong hotel. I looked at the sign. It said Hotel Cavour, but my paper said Hotel Cavour Palace. They were not the same. I went inside and asked the receptionist, "Excuse me, is this Hotel Cavour Palace?" She smiled politely. "No, signorina. But don't worry. It is close. Only 10 minutes walking." She gave me a small map and pointed the way. I said grazie and started walking. The streets were narrow and full of cars. I heard horns, birds, and people laughing. I passed cafes with strong smells of coffee. I saw people eating breakfast, fresh croissants, tiny cups of espresso. A man in a white apron stood outside a bakery. He smiled and said, "Buongiorno." I answered, "Good morning." Then I tried, "Buongiorno." He gave me a thumbs up. Finally, I saw the correct hotel. I checked in and went to my room. It was small but bright, with a big window that opened to the street. I sat on the bed. I was in Rome, alone, excited, tired, happy. After a quick shower and some water, I went outside. I didn't want to waste time. I had only 3 days in this amazing city. First stop, the Colosseum. I walked for about 15 minutes. I used a simple map from the hotel. And then there it was. Big, round, ancient. The Colosseum. I stood there looking at it. So many people walked here, I thought. So many stories. So much history. I bought a ticket and joined a tour group. The guide spoke simple English. She said, "This building is almost 2,000 years old. The Romans used it for shows, fights, and even sea battles." I looked around. I imagined the noise, the people, the animals, the action. A boy near me whispered, "It's like a movie." After the tour, I felt hungry, so I walked to a small pizzeria nearby. Inside, it was warm and smelled like tomatoes, cheese, and garlic. I sat down and ordered in English, "1 margherita pizza, please." The waiter smiled. Perfect choice. When the pizza came, it was beautiful. Thin crust, fresh basil, melted cheese. I took the first bite. "Wow," I said out loud. A couple at the next table laughed. The woman said, "First time in Italy?" I smiled. "Yes, and this pizza is magic." After lunch, I continued walking. Rome is like an open-air museum. I saw fountains, old churches, small shops with leather bags and handmade shoes. Then I found a gelato shop. Inside, there were so many flavors: pistachio, chocolate, lemon, coffee. I picked stracciatella, vanilla with chocolate chips. I walked slowly, eating my gelato and watching people. Tourists with cameras, locals on scooters, children chasing pigeons. One old man sat on a bench, feeding birds. I smiled. He waved at me. That evening, I walked to the Spanish Steps. I climbed slowly, step by step. At the top, I turned and looked down. The city lights were turning on. The sky was orange and pink. It was quiet and peaceful. I sat for a moment. I thought about the day, the taxi, the mistake, the Colosseum, the pizza, the gelato. Rome was not perfect, but it was real and beautiful. Later, I returned to the hotel. I opened the window in my room. I could hear music from the street, a guitar, people talking and laughing. I made some tea, sat by the window, and wrote in my journal. Day 1 in Rome. I was lost, then found. I was tired, then amazed. Rome is a city of surprises. The next day, I visited the Vatican museums and saw the Sistine Chapel. The art was unbelievable, walls and ceilings full of color and stories. I also threw a coin into the Trevi Fountain. They say if you do that, you will return to Rome one day. I closed my eyes, made a wish, and tossed the coin. On my last night, I joined a small walking tour. We walked through Trastevere, a neighborhood with narrow streets, live music and people eating outside. The guide said, "In Rome, every stone has a story." I believed him. That afternoon, after lunch, I wanted to see something less famous. No crowds, no tours, just real Rome. I asked the hotel receptionist, "Where can I go that's not full of tourists?" He thought for a moment. Then he smiled and said, "Go to the Orange Garden. It's quiet, beautiful view. Romans love it." He gave me directions. I took a bus, my first time using Roman public transport. It was a little confusing, but a kind woman next to me said, "Don't worry, I will tell you where to get off." 10 minutes later, I arrived. I walked through a small gate, and suddenly, silence. No cars, no noise, just tall orange trees, soft light, and the sound of leaves in the wind. A young couple sat on a bench. An old man played the violin. I walked to the edge of the garden and saw the city below. Domes, rooftops, the river. I stood there for a long time. I didn't take photos. I just watched. Then I heard a voice behind me. "First time here." I turned. A woman, maybe in her 60s, was smiling. "Yes," I said. "It's my second day in Rome." She nodded. "Good place for thinking, no?" "Yes." "It's peaceful." She pointed to the horizon. "That's St. Peter's Basilica. And there, Trastevere." I looked. "Thank you," I said. She smiled. "Enjoy Rome. But don't try to see everything. Just feel it." Those words stayed with me. Later that day, I found a street artist. He was painting on a small canvas. I stopped and watched. The painting showed a Roman street at sunset. Warm, soft colors. He looked up. "You like it?" "Yes." "It's beautiful." €10, he said. I laughed. "I only have 5. He smiled and handed it to me. "For you, because you smile with your eyes." I thanked him. That small painting is still in my room today. That evening, I had dinner in a family-run trattoria. The owner, an older woman, came to my table. "What would you like?" she asked. "I don't know," I said. "What do you recommend?" She smiled. "Eat like Roman. I bring something." She brought pasta, cacio e pepe, simple but perfect. Just pasta, cheese, and black pepper. But it was delicious. She sat with me for a minute and told me, Food is love. Eat slowly. So I did. On the morning of my flight, I packed my bag and looked out the window one last time. I smiled and said, "Ciao, Roma. I'll be back." And I will.